Hello and greetings to everyone. On my last video, whenever I talked about 2011 MD, we spoke a little bit about that, and we checked out an article that NASA had put out some information. Well, remember they said the 27th, Monday, it would make a pass by, and then it would be visible, I believe they said in the South Atlantic, somewhere in that area. But the 27th was the day they kept saying, Monday. Did anybody notice? I did, but I didn't really press the issue because I believe when I put the video out it was already going on. But this is Friday, the 24th. And I believe that's whenever I started making the video. And look at the Earth distance. I'll go back one day and see it's 0.0010 the day before on the 23rd, and then it comes even closer on the 24th, and then 25th, 0.0010, same as it was on the 23rd prior to this day, 24th, Friday. This was Friday. But that article, as we read through and looked at, and then we saw the little chart and everything of how they projected it to go by, that said 27, Monday. So what is the deal? Here's the 27th, Monday, 0.0027. It was farther away today than Friday. So why didn't they tell everyone it was going to fly over Friday when it was, much closer on Friday than it was Monday? Maybe that was their non-warning, no warning, and then they just put that out after you got no warning, possibly. There's a couple other, I just wanted to point this out because it's already happened. But I noticed that, and I just wondered if anybody else did, because nobody commented or mentioned that. That struck me odd from the get-go that they put the 27th, look for the flyby, but we were already looking at the Friday whenever we saw it went into negative. So we have a couple other things I want to bring us up to date on. Let's take a little look at them. And what we have here is we have some fire, and we've got thousands fleeing as fire nears town. Los Alamos nuclear lab. That's New Mexico. Nuclear lab. It talks about thousands of people fleeing ahead of a wildfire that sent up towering plumes of smoke, rained down ash, and sparked a spot fire on lab property where scientists 50 years ago conducted underground tests of radioactive explosives. And we know about a lot of different rumors and stuff we heard about Los Alamos throughout the years. The wildfire, which began Sunday, had destroyed 30 structures south and west of Los Alamos by early Monday and forced the closure of the lab, while stirring the memories of a devastating blaze in May of 2000 that destroyed hundreds of homes and buildings. Okay, so they've already been through a big fire over 10 years ago, so nobody wants to see that happen. And it says that lab spokesman Kevin Rourke said environmental specialists from the lab were mobilized and monitoring air quality on Monday, but the main concern was smoke. The anti-nuclear watchdog group Concerned Citizens for Nuclear Safety, however, said the fire appeared to be about 3.5 miles from a dump site where as many as 30,000 55-gallon drums of plutonium-contaminated waste were stored in fabric tents above ground. The group said the drums were awaiting transport to a low-level radiation dump site in southern New Mexico. Lab spokesman Steve Sandoval declined to confirm that there were any such drums currently on the property. He acknowledged that low-level waste is at times put in drums and regularly taken from the lab to the Waste Isolation Pilot Project site in Carlsbad. Sandoval said the fire was quite a bit away from that storage area, but he could not say what would happen if drums containing such waste were to burn. Wow. Well, he could not say, so I guess it does not need to be said. So they have some serious issues going on down there. And then you have statements like, the fire has the potential to double or triple in size. Firefighters had no idea which direction the 60-mile-an-hour plus winds would take it. So they're dealing with fire and super strong wind at the same time. Or you're trying to put this thing out and contain it. So we need to really do some heavy praying that they can contain this thing and it does not get into that site and all those labs and any of the areas where they have that waste. Now this one is about Ft.Calhoun nuclear plant, and the protective flood berm collapsed. KSU has radioactive leak, and this is the picture of the facility, and it's got a little highlight thing in yellow, goes all the way around it, and the berm is it's a water field called Aqua Dam, and it collapsed early Sunday morning. So that was as far as I know, that was the big containment from this stuff getting in there any farther. Now they've got sandbags and stuff too, but this here Aqua Dam was supposed to be that main wall all the way around it, and then the bags to back everything up. So we've got some really serious stuff going on here, and let's read a little bit about what this is. A 2,000-foot stretch of a protective water balloon surrounding the Ft.Calhoun nuclear power plant collapsed at 1:25 a.m. on Sunday, June 26th. 2 days earlier, on June 24th that would be, Kansas State University reported an emergency when radiation leaked at 149 times the derived air concentration limit for iodine during a trial run of its reactor. 6.5 hours after the Ft.Calhoun water berm collapsed, operators reported it to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, registering it as a non-emergency. The NRC says there's nothing to worry about. The flooding has had no impact on the reactor shutdown cooling or the spent fuel pool cooling. Operating since 1973, Ft.Calhoun filled its spent fuel cooling pond to capacity in 2006. The structure is 40 feet deep and 38 feet above ground. Ft.Calhoun then built a dry cask storage facility, circled below, which the NRC says does not need the Aqua Dam water berm. On June the 15th, we first posted news about the threat to Nebraska's nuclear plants amid an apparent media blackout on the story. On June 23, the AP released its report of a year-long investigation into U.S. nuclear plants indicating that 75% of them leak radiation. That's not a good number. Oh, wow. That is high. Indeed, when Kansas State University ran its research reactor for 25 minutes on June 24, my goodness, air quality monitors sounded the alarm that iodine radiation exceeded the DAC limit by 149 times above the allowable levels, prompting KSU to declare an emergency. Though 4 different systems caught the excessive radiation levels, operators reported their belief that this was due to the proximity of a radioactive sample near the monitors. They did not disclose what kind of sample, nor why it was near 4 different monitors, if that's even possible. Plus, the sample they discussed showed cesium, not iodine. On May 31, NRC Chief Gregory Jatsko defended the NRC against allegations it is too closely allied with plant operators. He cited several examples where plants were ordered to hasten work on long overdue safety measures, and applauded the NRC for its transparency and openness. The transparency and openness didn't apply to the events at both Nebraska nuclear power plants until after this June 15th article. It took a week for the NRC to mention it. On June 21, Jasko reported that the NRC ordered Ft.Calhoun to beef up its flood response plan last year, and that he's confident the plan is very well positioned to ride out the current of Missouri River flooding while keeping the public safe. That same statement was reissued on June 26 after the collapse of the berm, which is clearly part of Ft.Calhoun's flood response plan, along with sandbags and a mound of earth piled around the plant. Nuclear engineer Arnie Gunderson says that sandbags and nuclear power plants should not be in the same sentence. Well, I kind of have to agree with that. Keep in mind, as these events unfold, that nuclear power plants provide about 40 years of electricity while producing radioactive waste that lasts thousands of years. And despite the reality, the NRC is currently developing plans for safe storage of nuclear waste of up to only 300 years. Chief Jasko joins with Senator Harry Reid and President Obama in refusing to bury the nation's nuclear waste at Yucca Mountains, which has long been deemed unsafe. Funding for the project was cut in 2010, though the issue is still mired in litigation. Off-planet is the safest repository, given the danger posed to Earth by millennia of radioactivity. Professor Benjamin Sobakul calls nuclear energy the deadliest, costliest form of energy on record, showing that on average there's been one nuclear accident resulting in at least $330 million in damage every year for the past 30 years. The meltdown of a 500 megawatt reactor located 30 miles from a city would cause the immediate death of an estimated 45,000 people, injure roughly another 70,000, and cause $17 billion in property damage. That's what we have at Ft.Calhoun, a 500 megawatt reactor 20 miles north of Omaha. Well, there we go. So everybody, this is some serious stuff here. I mean, we have major issue here with the flooding and the berm collapse, and now we know the range of what they project, you know, a radius from wherever something would happen, and we just read through the figures of it. And then we have fire and another nuclear facility here in jeopardy of causing some major things. And as well, we've had a couple of more earthquakes. I didn't bring anything up. I can just tell you that Alaska's had 2 more. They're in the 5s. I believe one was 5.6, and I think the other was a 5.2 or 5.3. But they have had 2 in the 5s. So please, everybody, be aware that Ft.Calhoun apparently is much more serious than anybody could even imagine. And then you're hearing and seeing things of explosives planted along the dam, and the dam showing to be cracked. So something has to go. Something has to go here. It's meant that my belief is much more serious than what they're putting out. And let's hope it isn't, and that something won't happen. But let's be ready in case there is. And ready, I mean, is not let it catch you by surprise. Be aware of what is going on, how it would affect you if you're in that region. Because they're not going to tell you on the television. They're just not going to do it. So we have to look for one another and share it. And these seem to be, other than what we already got going on with the Mississippi flooding and all of the bad weather, the tornadoes that tore up the South and other areas in the Midwest. And then we have all these fires burning all over the country. We're seeing that over here again. We just got to really pray to the Lord and ask Him to protect us and guide us in everything that's coming up, because it seems like it's starting to snowball, or at least that's the picture that it's putting out whenever I look at it. It's getting to be more intense with these things like this and these floods like this, and then we have flybys like this, and we know what we're coming into, but according to JPL data, you know what we're supposed to be coming into from here on out. So that's really all I had to show tonight, is I wanted to really bring up this flooding, because that's a lot of water. I mean, a lot of water. You never will probably have seen that much water, if you never have before, if that dam is due to break, and then you don't know what would happen. All that water coming down, working its way down on everything else, is collapse something else more than likely. Well, let's pray that it won't. So I'm glad I got to talk, and I hope that the weekend went well for everyone. Monday's kind of a blah day for me. I never really like to work that well on a Monday. But it's done and over, and on to Tuesday. So I'll talk to y'all pretty soon, and God bless and keep all of you safe. Keep your eyes up. There's always something going on over your head. I'll talk to you later.